Doodlebud here. Today we're checking out this pen. This is the Asvine C2000, C standing for cartridge. It's a cartridge converter pen. 2000 standing for some number they gave this pen. I was sent this pen for review about a month and change ago, month and a half or so ago, along with the V800s directly from Asvine to check out and review. I did the V800 review. Now I will give you my thoughts on the C2000. He informed me, and I was aware of this as well, the first batch of C2000s that came out had a cap sealing problem. Everyone loved the pen apparently, but then the cap wouldn't seal quite well and the nib would dry out. That is one of my most frustrating things on a pen, is a poor cap seal. Let's say, for example, this pen had a bad nib. Worst case, you could just pull the nib out and replace it, put a new one in, and everything is great. You could tune it, you could adjust it, you could even grind it. But if a cap doesn't seal, there's not a whole bunch that the individual user can do. So this has apparently been fixed, and I can confirm with you it has been fixed. I've used this pen for about a week and a half. When I first got it, used it, enjoyed it. Then I put the cap on and left it. It's now been a month. Actually, just showing you here on the video, that's the first time I've actually uncapped the pen in a month. We're going to find out really quickly if it's written or not. I think it's okay, because I think I touched the case and maybe some ink got on there. But yeah, it looked like it was wet and everything. We'll try it out. I haven't written with it in over a month, so we'll test that cap seal. First, what I'll do, I'll give you my initial thoughts, and we'll talk about this material here. This is called stabilized wood. Let me tell you just a quick little thing on how it's made and what it's like. Stabilized wood is an interesting material. A lot of the time it's used for pen blanks and also knife blanks, so that the handles on knives. It's one of those in-between materials. In-between meaning it has some wood, but it also has some resin that's in there. So a lot of times you have full resin pens. That's not uncommon, whether it's machined or injection moldable resins. And then there's also wood pens. They're a little more finicky. You usually have to do some treatment to them, of course, but this is a bit of a both worlds type situation. You want to start off with a fairly porous wood, some type of a burl or a buckeye or something like that. And that's when, if you look into the pen, you can see all these swirls and little mini pores and holes. Now, typically, if you want to turn a pen, you want a fairly solid piece of wood. It's quite tricky when you have ones with lots of holes and pores and stuff in it, because you could be going along and all of a sudden you get everything perfect and there's a big chunk that just falls out of the section or the back of the pen because there's a hole there and it's not going to stay together. So that's a bit of a challenge. That's where the stabilized wood comes in. What you do is you take a resin and you impregnate it into the wood. So this is why you want a porous wood. It happens under vacuum, so you'll put this whole, you'll have your pen blank, probably like a rough shape from the burl wood or whatever type of porous wood you're using. You will infuse the resin into the wood in a vacuum, because what you want to do is take out all the air. So now the resin gets in to fill those gaps. Then you will let the pressure back in and it'll drive that in there even more. And you let it dry, and then you also have to cure it. So usually at an elevated temperature. What that does is it finishes off the polymerization. You're going from a liquid resin to a hard resin, so you're creating new bonds and chains to finish the polymerization process. And then you have your completed blank, and that's when you get your machining done. And you can impact the overall aesthetics and colors by what you do to the resin, the colors you give that. It also results in a really nice feeling pen. It's smooth, but nice tactility to it. Like I said, it sort of feels like a little bit of both, because, well, it is. Let's just do this initial test and get it out of the way, because I'm going to talk more about the pen and I need to take the cap off. So let's just do this test right now. You can see this right there. Like, it looks wet. So I don't think there's going to be any problems whatsoever. And yeah, there we go. That doesn't surprise me. And it's nice and wet, nice and juicy. Everything's good. So there's the 1 month cap seal. Let me talk more about the pen, then I'll get to the writing sample. And because someone wants to know immediately, they can't wait, what ink is that? Here it is. This is some Noodler's ink that was kindly sent to me by a viewer. This is the green cactus, the American eel. The first thing I noticed about the pen was its size. It's quite large. Let's do the size comparison right now, just so you can see what I'm meaning here. The pens in the lineup are as follows: a Jinhao 9019, a Lamy All-Star, the Asvine C2000, Magna Carta Mag 600, and then a Montblanc 149. The pen doesn't really post securely, so for the lineup here, we'll just do caps off, unposted. Again, you can see it is huge. Let's now do physical dimensions. 156 and change, like so. Just under 141 with the cap off. cap diameter, body diameter. Below the threads, the section's 13.2 with a very small taper to the front and the section length below the threads. The full pen comes in just under 39 grams with 11.7 in the cap, 27.2 in the body. So with all the analytical stuff done, what are my actual feelies on the pen? First of all, it writes quite nicely, good cap seal, fun big nib. So those are all great things. After that sort of comes personal preference. So as far as styling, I like the material, I like the Asvine on there, all that stuff. I just find the shape I'm not 100% in love with. It's a little kind of bulky in the design side. It's comfortable in the hand. I like it. If you don't like a big pen, you probably won't like this no matter what, but it's big, but it's not overweight, it's not unbalanced, it's very comfortable. I like the feel, good grip, all those great things. There is that step down that I showed, and the edge is a bit crispy. And there's one little thing I am a little bit concerned about. I'm not quite sure though. This has to do a little bit with constraints and concentricity. So in the cap here, there's a liner down there and there's a little step. That's where your seal is being done. It's sealing up against here. You get a nice cap seal that way, and I think they probably fix some bits up the end here to perform a proper cap seal up top. But then as you snug the cap down, there's a little detail I noticed here. This is where the constraints and concentricity comes in. You can see there's a little bit of extra room there, and it seems like the cap wants to go over top of the body, which is good, much like on the 149 here. It seals the same way down in there at the end of the section, and there's just enough room for the body to pass through into the cap. And it's very important you keep all the parts concentric so that space is the same so nothing binds. On this one, you can see an inconsistency in the wall thickness, so you can see how it's much thicker here. Okay, that's the thickest part here. And then it's thinner here. So we have a little bit where it's not quite completely concentric. Then you have these other parts coming in. So you have this section which is made, and then the pen body. So these are all different parts. And then you have your threads here. So this is a separate part. It'll get put in here, it'll get glued in place. So how all these parts are aligned will actually dictate things quite a bit, especially when you're dealing with such a small clearance, wanting this to slip past this, because here's the other part is the constraints. So this becomes a critical distance. If the seal that's going here at the end is too far down, what's going to happen is this is going to ram into this little step. Ideally, it should probably just pass through in there because you want to rely on this seal. But what I'm finding here is they do end up touching, and you can feel the tension build up, and you can also hear it. Let me squeeze it and you can hear. What I was attempting to show you there, and also do it visually, but also with sound, is this part is now actually touching the body. So those two parts are locked together. They're solid. There's no creak here, but now we're pressing only on that side, and this side can wiggle and move a little bit, and you do get some creep in the body. So there hasn't been a problem yet, but I do worry about just long term, as this happens like this, could there be potential stress that goes on and potentially a little crack because there is no cap band here. So I don't think it's going to break here. If you'd ever get a crack, it would be on the thin wall that's making contact on that one side, because it's only touching that one side of the face. So that's my only little concern. Again, I haven't used the pen for a year daily. Taking the cap on and off hasn't caused any kind of issue with the pen. Let's do the full writing sample now. So for writing, the pen has been really good. This is just a quick little writing sample. I used it as a daily carry pen for about a week and a half or so. No issues at all. Everything was great and zero hard starts. That little blip there on the W, that was me lifting off, not the pen skipping. It's plenty juicy when you try to push it a bit. That's why I said it's bouncy. So it's got a little bit of bounce to it. You can get a little thicker if you push a little bit more, but it's not a flex nib. If you try to really push it, I checked with mine when I played with it a bit, the tines start to open up a bit. So you don't want that. This is not a flex nib. Push it too hard and you're going to have problems. Also, the feed doesn't seem to catch up with it anyways. That's always an ink combination too, but not a flex nib. It just has a natural, enjoyable bounce. Try to get too much of that, you're going to have a problem with the nibs. Pen performance is good. Writing is nice. I like the material. It's grippy, all that sort of stuff. As far as the aesthetics, it's really, I like the look of the material, but I find there's just a few kind of mixes with the pen, things that could be a little bit better. Bigger pen, and they have this clip on some of their other pens, but the pen is typically a little more shorter, a little more stout. And this, to me, this clip looks like someone who tied their tie a little bit too short with their dress shirt. See on the Mont Blanc and other pens, the clip extends down a little bit further, and just aesthetically, it looks better when the clip goes down further. Like I said, it sort of looks like Junior tied his tie a little bit too short that day. But so that's one little comment. And then the step down, it's not uncomfortable, but it looks like what happened is this part here, let's take the section off. So this is all bored out. This part goes in here to sleeve it and do all your threads. And you can see that when that's bored, you know, that face is cut, but it's left unpolished. And so there's a little bit of a crispy edge on the step up. It'd be nicer if it wasn't crispy. So if they just touched that off a little bit, broke that edge, and also after this bore is done, before you sleeve it, if they polish this a little bit or something like that, just so aesthetically it looks a little bit better versus just raw cut, fresh cut surface on there as well. You see that more of the white there from the resin that's into the wood. So yeah, just break that edge, polish it before this part is put in. It'll look nicer and it won't be as crispy. So if you've been holding off on getting this pen because you've heard of stories of poor cap seal, you don't have to worry anymore. If you really like the styling and want to get one of these, but that was holding you back, it shouldn't hold you back at all. The pen performs well. You get a well-tuned nib, all that great stuff, a nice material. For me, just the styling isn't my favorite. So that wraps up my thoughts and review of the Asvine C2000 stabilized wood pen. Thanks goes out to Britam over there at Asvine for sending me this one to review. Check out their Amazon store so you can see availability. That's their primary place. I know it ends up also on AliExpress, so I'll have links to both places if you want to pick one of those up. If you feel like hitting a thumbs up, that'd be cool. If you feel like subscribing better, there's even a join button. You can learn more about that. We'll catch you next time.